Good evening and welcome to The Last Word on Spurs. I hope you're keeping very safe and well. Quite clearly, I'm not Ricky Sachs. I'm Tim from Spurs Song Sheet. But Ricky will be with you in a minute. And just for now, it's a few tunes to keep you entertained. Baby, when I met you, there was peace unknown. I set out to get you with a fine-tooth comb. I was soft inside. There was something going on. You do something to me that I can't explain. Hold me closer and I feel no pain. Every beat in my heart, we got something going on. Tender love is blind. It requires a dedication. All this love we feel needs no conversation. We ride it together, making love with each other, Islands in the stream, that is what you are. No one in between. How can we be wrong? Sail away with me to another world, and we rely on each other, from one lover to another, The next one is about Tottenham Hotspur saviour. Pasta car glue, he rode his kangaroo to London from Australia. Tottenham Hotspur saviour. Pasta car glue, he rode his kangaroo to London from Australia. Tottenham Hotspur saviour. Pasta car glue, he rode his kangaroo to London from Australia. He's Tottenham Hotspur saviour. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to The Last Word on Spurs. We do hope you're keeping very, very safe and well. Was that seamless enough? I think so. The man himself currently necking an oil there in the background, which was interesting. If you're listening to the first time, where have you been? We're on iTunes, we're on Spotify. We are across audio platforms where you can find us. You may find us on top of the pops the way it's going here right now. Thank you so much for joining us. You are joining us as we're about to exit the international break, despite a bit of a worry over the last 24, 48 hours in terms of who is coming out of that international break, quite frankly, fit and raring to go. I'm joined by three great returning guests to Last Word on Spurs. A man that you would have heard there in the intro of this show. You'll hear him again and midway and then singing us out. We've got the wonderful Tim Winstone over at Spurs Song Sheets. Tim, love to see you back on Last Word on Spurs.
Great.
How are you?
I just think that's quite an amazing thing I've managed to get from there, wearing a different shirt all the way through. I think it's quite impressive feat of technology. But no, mate, it's great to be on. Obviously, thanks for the invite back on the show. It's been a while. I think the last time I was on the show, it was all very depressing, and we were just trying to get through the games, weren't we? So yeah, it's great to be on. It's great to be on with George and Talia as well. So looking forward to previewing Fulham after such a long international break, mate. So I'm looking to get back into the fray of the Premier League.
I'm not lying to you. You just broke the magic trick. Many were asking, how did you get from there to there? But you've gone and broken it. So I was going to keep that going and keep it alive. But there you go. We've got the wonderful Tim Winston joining us. Joining Tim on our panel tonight. Returning to Last Word on Spurs. Always hard-hitting opinions on this show. I'd like to have her back alongside us. We've got our wonderful Talia, Coren, back Tal. Love to see you on Last Word on Spurs. How are you?
Oh, I'm good, thank you. How are you, Ricky?
I'm good. Top of the league. Going international break, we've stayed there as well. I know Macca has not stopped looking at the table, thinking it could change. It won't change. It might change after this weekend, of course, until Monday night.
It might. Well, it's lovely to be here in positive circumstances. It's been a while, so very much looking forward to it.
Doesn't happen often when you're on it, does it? So we've got to cherish that and make most of it. I know, dizzy heights of being top. What can I say? Making up our panel tonight, a man who was experienced, lots of different kind of shows on Last Word on Spurs. The good, the bad. The last time he was on, I believe Spurs were in the process of selling their number 10. Fair to say the number 10 who's replaced him has looked very, very good so far. We've got the wonderful George Achillea, of course, on the YouTube and all the scenes. You can find him on the socials. George, is smiling. Spurs are top. Is that a representation of how happy you are at the moment?
Yeah, happy days are back again. Yeah, I think last time literally was the day before Kane ended up getting sold. So you know what? Much better circumstances now. Looking positive. Happy to be back.
Absolutely, guys. I've got to say, it is looking so positive right now. So much that we can hear Tim singing us in on the intro there with Tottenham being top of the league. And that's where I do want to start, the feeling of Spurs being top. You guys are on at a point where, quite frankly, it is new dizzy heights for us all. George, let's kick off with you. Spurs, of course, we left the international break making our best start to a league season since 60-61. The last time Spurs done that, you don't need me to remind you, we went and won the league. But yeah, it's the first time Spurs have been top since August 2022. We've scored in every game. We, of course, we extended that unbeaten run to 8 after that win against Luton. George, what's your feelings been on this start to the season?
Look, it's been an unbelievable start to the season, and we can't get ahead of ourselves just yet because, you know, it's happened before with Mourinho and Conte. We've been top of the league and it's all fallen apart. But like I think a lot of people have already pointed out on previous shows and stuff, it feels a little bit different this year. It feels like we're back to playing this really exciting football. We're getting goals every game. It's great to watch, even though I still think we can kick up a gear, and we definitely will down the line. It's so early in Postecoglou's tenure, but listen, can't complain. The turnaround from the way we were playing last year to now, I think that's the most important thing for me. I thought it was going to take a while. I thought it was going to take a lot more transfer windows, changing players. But no, he's done an absolutely worldy of a job so far. So yeah, buzzing at the start.
Yes, indeed. I mean, I made that joke, Tal, for you. It is new dizzying heights being on this show with Spurs being where they are. Because I mean, every time you're on, you've always got something to say that we need to keep doing something, putting our foot on the pedal. But yeah, I mean, like I say, Spurs, of course, on the back of that international break, top of the league, best start to a season in over 6 decades. I mean, what a team this has been to watch. And I've got to say, they've played some lovely stuff along the way. Still yet to lose in 90 minutes during this campaign. What have you made of it, Tal?
It's just been enjoyable. I think that is the word that like summarizes it the most. I think everyone is enjoying football again. I think all of us have been through such a tricky time, like with supporting Spurs and going to the ground and just the atmosphere and the toxicity, everything around it. And I think we are all united again and just generally enjoying football and everything that we're seeing. So it's a shock to the system, isn't it? I mean, all of us are just like, wow. And in the ground, it is just like, it's indescribable how different it feels. And I mean, I think that, and I'm sure you know, in different shows gone into it and stuff, but with the late winners as well. But it's just like everyone around you, everyone is together and it is crazy. But I'm just excited again. I think, you know, like before, like look, if last season, if I had to go to Fulham on a Monday at 8 p.m, I'd been rolling my eyes, like dragging me out of the house. I can't wait. Like I'm excited. And that's not just because of the international break, because we're excited again and we love it. So I'm dizzy and I love it.
I know a lot of people then nice to see you smiling on here. It's been difficult times you've been on the show.
Everyone.
You was with us in the audio days, as was with George, when it was tough, man. It was tough. And look, if you can't enjoy it now, when can you enjoy it? I mean, Tim bringing you in. Tim is able to produce new songs every week because of the way Spurs are performing and playing. There's songs for every player at the moment, when you could argue at one point some players weren't even deserving or getting a song. So Tim, how is it for you? I mean, a man that, you know, you see so many Spurs fans you interact with in terms of the songs and just how much that has played a massive part in terms of the, as Tal says, the stadium atmosphere now. Must be a lovely feeling, the fact that you can produce these songs knowing that they're being sung in that stadium week after week or every other week at the stadium, and they're being sung with passion and joy with how Spurs are playing at the moment.
Yeah, I couldn't have put it any better, really. I mean, I think the last couple of shows we did, we were going to do some songs, and then we just had to can it because it just would have been totally inappropriate to start playing songs that not only probably didn't deserve them, they should have been removed from them. So I don't know if you can take a song away from a player. I don't think that's ever been done before, but I'm sure we can allow it for some of our squad. But yeah, it's been great, mate. So again, just the atmosphere. I mean, unfortunately, I've literally not. My first game's going to be Villa this year, just because various different things in my life and what's going on. But the atmosphere has been absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, you look at Sheffield United, you look at Liverpool results, previous seasons, and the previous management playing a different way. You know, we're not going 1 to 90 minutes, are we? We're sort of getting all upset, and it's just a toxic atmosphere. I just don't think we're getting those late winners, if I'm honest. So the that really, it's particularly the Sheffield United match was just the atmosphere was unbelievable, start to finish. I know, we battered them, we sort of deserved to win comfortably, but the game didn't go that way. The fans didn't get frustrated, and they got behind the team. And like you said, it's just been, the sort of stuff we're doing. It works really well when it's going really well, and it just doesn't really work if it's going really badly. So just on a personal level, it's just absolutely brilliant. Everyone's sort of getting involved. We've just had a load of new songs. There's 3 that are going to be played in the mid break. They've all come basically as a result of the team doing well, and players that have sort of joined us start the season. We've got a new Sonny one as well, which has gone down really well out on Twitter. So it's all very positive. I completely echo what Talia was saying. It's just I'd take losing. I'd honestly take losing.
All right, steady on.
Like, do you know what I mean? It's getting so bad though. Like it's just having to drag yourself to games and watch them through it. And you're always going to support your team. Always going to be Spurs through and through. There's nothing ever going to stop me doing that. But it's just you just know what was going to happen every week. And then I feel for you guys having to host these podcasts because you happen to kind of having been on a couple of depressive ones, mate. I don't know how you do it every week. But
the last time I was on YouTube, I fell off my chair. It was that bad. Because that was deliberate to try and detract the result, right?
Do you know what, mate? That again, we even made a song out of that, didn't we? So, you know what? That you have to throw yourself off chairs just to stop me being utterly that just that just shows the scale of man you are, Ricky. So I
try to do something to detract from the show. I couldn't detract the way last season went. Believe me, George. I talk about detraction. We ended last season with 4 managers. George, I think everyone knows your heritage and what you're about. Have we stumbled on the right man now? The fact that it's the Greek god that might be leading us. Of course, there's Australian there as well. I must add, we've got record numbers in Australia. Listen to us on the pod, and we love you for that. So thank you so much for your support. How much, George, have you warmed to Ange? And have you ever felt this kind of connection, dare I say, since the man 4 years ago that is now going to be in the other dugout and we face them in a couple of weeks' time down at Stamford Bridge? When he comes to here, he has obviously been at Stamford Bridge. Can you believe the connection that's been forged with Ange Postecoglou in still what's a matter of weeks, being quite frank, because it's just been incredible, hasn't it?
Yeah, what I find weird is how infectious it is and just how quick it's actually managed to happen, because even with Poch, look, it took him a year or two to even sort of build his team a little bit and sort of get to the football that we saw. I think a lot of people were skeptical at the start of his tenure. But then all the Celtic fans, every single one of them were gutted to see Postecoglou leave. And they were telling us how much we're going to fall in love with him. I think a lot of people might have been pessimistic at the beginning, but it's just unbelievable that in the space of 8 weeks or however long it's been, he's just turned it around like that. And I think everyone's fallen in love with him. I think he's bringing the vibes back, even with the players. The fact that Romero is coming out in interviews saying he wants to get, he's trying to look after himself with Argentina to come back and play for Spurs on Monday night is incredible. I think he's just brought everyone together as a young, hungry team. And that's, again, like you said, we haven't seen that since Pochettino. So, yeah, man, vibes are immaculate. And I'm here for it. Keep it rolling.
Absolutely. Tal, I mean, I've got a feeling with managers, it takes a lot to win you over, right? And I think bearing in mind the way we were subjected to eras of Conte, Mourinho, which at times that they had their moments where we had some, of course, decent moments. But how much have you fallen in love with Postecoglou in what's been a matter of weeks so far?
You think so little of me.
What can I?
What is this?
I think it's Tal. I know your standards, right? I know your standards. So
hard hitting, Tal. Hard hitting.
Yeah, I mean, what have you made of his start? You got to tell me, what have you made of his start?
I think it's incredible. George got it pretty bang on there for me. And I think it's just, he is so personable. And I think everyone just loves the honesty and the way that he talks, the straight talking nature. We have missed that, right? We have really missed that in our club. We've had the riddles and the bizarre pressers and just really weird comms. And I think Ange is exactly what is on the tin. And we need that. I think both in the club, to the fans, everywhere. And it's such a breath of fresh air. And it feels nice. And I think that element is different to Poch. Of course, you can compare the vibes and how together everyone is and the players have that bond again. And it's all exciting. But I still don't think we had this with Poch. We never got that. Obviously, we were all in love with him, but we didn't get the pure, honest press stuff that we've got now. And I think it just feels extremely new. And I think we did need that, right? I think we've all been pretty surprised by how much we are in love with him, to get the whole stadium, singing his song within the first game pretty much. And it's constant. It's incredible. But No, I mean, who can complain? You just can't.
No.
It's superb. Long may it continue.
Absolutely. Tim, is it easy to write songs about Ange? Anyone else so far?
Yeah, the couple we did, obviously, just fair play to James Black. He's absolutely smashed it out of the park with his Angels cover. So fair play to him. The couple that came through, obviously the one we played, the Venga Boys one. Never in my life would I ever thought I'd be singing an acoustic Venga Boys song and Postecoglou, our manager. And the other one we got is "Don't You Stop Me, Baby," as in Postecoglou, baby. So they're just fans that keep coming up with all these ideas. There's one night when I was just practicing it in, and there are sort of three of us that run the song sheet stuff. It's not just myself. So it's a guy runs a Twitter site, and a guy, Frank, does our unbelievable videos, which, to be honest, that makes the song for me. And there's like 3 or 4 came over, and all these ideas. Even yesterday, someone's come up with one. I think I wrote it down. Huel B, I think, on Twitter. So I said I'd give him a shout out. Let's come up with a song to Candy. He came up with no lyrics. He just said, "Do you know what? Kulusevski, that will fit into that." So we come up with a version of that, and probably give that a go and put it out there and see what happens. So it's just obviously the vibe around the club's so good at the moment. Everyone just seems to be wanting to get involved, particularly now the international break. Everyone's gutted to see. I keep seeing. And I can't wait for Ange to get back. I mean, we weren't saying that about Conte, were we, towards the end? And
No.
and certainly not Stellini.
Well, I can tell you, I think it was enjoying international breaks. We wanted them to be extended, not short, right? I tell you, different times. On the international break, must say there's been a little bit of fair to say news coming out from Spurs. We've had a new club technical director coming in, Johan Lange. I'm waiting for the club to tell me otherwise. That is how it's pronounced. I'm sure they'll be onto my case and let me know one way or another how that is. Look, a guy that, as I mentioned in our show with Tim Vicker over the weekend, he's in a mixed bag of success with Aston Villa, where he brought in a number of different players. Those from Emilio Martinez, Ollie Watkins, Matty Cash. And then you look at maybe some of his lesser decent buys in terms of Morgan Sanson, Ross Barkley were perhaps lesser ideal, but a man that's come in and, look, I think fair to say, based on how the Parategy appointment went down, one that's more, you'd say, under the radar. What do you think of that for you, George, very quickly? Pleased to see a technical director come in, and is it just a case now of really being judged on the future windows rather than really looking into anything he's done previously?
Yeah, I think it's exactly that, to be honest with you, because look, it's 50-50 right now. Like you said, you can look back at it and some look good, some look bad. He brought Longley in the summer on loan, so that could be maybe a bit of a negative sign for Villa. But look, at the end of the day, I think there's been a massive shift in the club all around when it comes to recruiting in the last, I'd say, like year and a half. So maybe it's just a case that maybe some others that he was working with at Villa might have sort of not helped in some of the decision making, some of the poor signings. But I think we've got a good track record so far with who we brought in. So I'm just looking forward to sort of seeing what he can do. And I think it's a step in the right direction for sure. Hopefully, Levy can stay as far away from transfer dealings as possible. We just sort of actually, go down this sort of statistic route, because it's clearly working with some of these other clubs. And look, as much as we'd love to spend big, we didn't do it under Mourinho. We didn't do it under Conte. We didn't really do it for Pochettino. So I think we just got to try a different route if that's not going to be the case. And yeah, I'm just sort of excited to see where it goes in future windows.
Yeah, I mean, Tal, come over to you. Look, a man, to be fair to him, he's got a relative amount of experience, and we've seen obviously a shake-up at the club. Leonardo Gabardini is now left as the chief scout. Of course, Parategy, as we understand, is going to stay on in some form of a consultancy role, which is interesting. Obviously, Scott Munn has been pivotal behind his appointment as well. Are you the same, Tal? You'll judge it based on what comes in rather than essentially what we know of his background so far? How do you judge it for you at the moment?
Yeah, I think so. There's no need to, bring negativity into it. I mean, he's been appointed. Let's see what he can do. I mean, I don't really know too much about his history. Let's be honest. I'm not going to lie. I really don't. But yeah, let's give him a chance before we go in on him. But fingers crossed it's the right thing for the club and we get right people as the result. It's what we all want. So
absolutely. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, on that, Tim, we talk about recruitment. I mean, you look at the fact that this week especially, if anyone's got any nails left, of course, seeing the Spurs players go away, I think what's evident to all of us is that there's going to be a need in January to get some depth in. I think it's fair for me to say that central defence is maybe an area you feel Spurs are going to have to ride their luck now. I think they've got 12, 13 games to battle themselves through to January in order so they can look at that area. You'd argue the same potentially with obviously central midfield, because they are going to lose the likes of Pat Matasar, Basuma to the AFCON and Højbjerg's future, which we'll come on to shortly. He's had some really nice quotes, Højbjerg, during the international break. And of course, the forward situation, you could say, with Richarlison as well, is an area that Spurs might need to address. Do you think he'll most certainly be working already, Tim, on those January targets?
So I'd really hope so, because again, you look at you look at Son last year. I mean, what a man! He's just come back in blinding form. Where they played him centrally, scoring goals. He looks a threat again, doesn't he? And there's no guarantee that's going to happen. So obviously everyone's hopeful Richarlison would sort of turn up and kind of hasn't in the role we need him to sort of replace Kane's goals. So we do need. I sort of feel it's been great. It's been great attacking. I kind of lagging. It's the wrong word, isn't it? But I think we have got quite lucky in a few games. Like last minute against Sheffield United, we beat Liverpool just over the line with 9 men. Luton, you could have argued, that was just a good sort of battling win. But we were a few minutes away from it, the table looking very different for me. And then you lose Maddison, you're absolutely screwed, aren't we? We cannot wait. He's irreplaceable anyway. But we do need to look at those areas. But so I'd say right down the spine. We need one at top, one mid, and then one at the back as well. And you'd hope now that we're in not that it should be this way, but now we're in we're top of the league, aren't we? We're in a very, very good shout Champions League positions. I know it's very early in the season. You would hope that the hands would go in the pockets and we would actually get what we want, because again, I am still dreaming of a title win, by the way. I'm not giving up on it. I'm just trying to be a bit more sort of realistic about stuff. If the wheels do fall off, and obviously they might not. We might just be on a massive crest of a wave and off we go for the next 6-7 months. But we definitely need to strengthen. If we had lost Maddison in any of these games, he's been such a game changer for us. That Eriksen replacement we've never had. Not that Conte would have ever played him had we bought him. That's just, I don't know. It's damaged me. The last couple of years has really damaged me, mate.
Well, I think even more so, Tim, like you say. I mean, that's why the music that you give us is almost a sense of healing, really, because of how bad it has been the last couple of years. To better go to the stadium and just be able to enjoy the football, enjoy the atmosphere, enjoy the mood, enjoy coming on here with smiling faces, and not like it's been a chore at times. Which I can say, look, although these guys I know love coming on Last Word on Spurs, I know there must be times when they see a message from me going, "Oh no, not him, not now." Not now. What's going on this football club?
You're like, I'm really sorry that you got to talk about a bad result, and you're like,
oh, no.
It's bad when I say apologies in advance, and I can just say, I'm leaving that WhatsApp for a few hours, most certainly. But look,
is that Villa game last year when you phoned me? It's the Villa at home, wasn't it? We lost. You're like, I was just, oh my god, no.
I'm so sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. Don't worry.
It's mad though. I had Spurs fans even then and now come up to me saying to me, "Thank you for the therapy." Genuine hugs on the commute, which is lovely. I must say again, thank you so much for all your support. It was only truly, truly appreciative. But look, we can enjoy times now. And the mad thing is, George, like we say about the mood around the club at the moment. We're in a situation where we got the under-18s riding high, the under-21s, the first team, all topping their respective domestic leagues. Is that just really, George, that alignment piece that we discussed, that maybe someone coming in, figurehead in Postecoglou, and also I must say as well, the women doing very well as well at the moment, that in every area of the club, there feels like a real alignment now in terms of the way the team wants to play, the way they want to be front foot. And I think as long as we stick to our core principles, George, that we can learn a lot from the last 2-3 years, right? Do you agree?
Yeah, I think so. I think especially under Conte, obviously you heard all the rumors that he was just using the youth players as like training cones and stuff like that, and they clearly weren't enjoying it. And obviously they were still having to prepare as if they were going to go play in a Conte team, so quite a defensive 3 at the back formation. Whereas you know what it's like, if you're young playing football, you just want to be attacking all the time. And I think Ange bringing in that sort of philosophy and that play style and spreading it throughout the ages, you can clearly see that all of the players are buying into it massively. The fact that we managed to nail down like Mikey Moore to a very lucrative deal for a kid that was like 15 years old sort of shows the ambition that we're going with the youth sides now. And I think they've really bought into this idea, even signing players like Phillips at 18 years old. Dorrington seems to be doing really well. Donnelly as well. Like these young players are people that we're now looking at that could potentially make that step up into the first team. And I think that doesn't really happen under the previous managers. So fair credit to Postecoglou. He's done an unbelievable job at sort of bringing the standards up across the board, not just in the first team. And like you said, it's only been, 3 months since he's been here? 3-4 months since he's been here? It's unbelievable.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Now, one man who I think fair to say he's always to some degree divided some form of opinion, and that's Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. I do want to bring an interview that came in during this international break where he stated that from his perspective, he's going to accept his current position at Tottenham and learn from it as he bids to become once again a first-team regular at the club. And look, I think for him as well, he's in newfound territory where he was previously one of the first names on the team sheet under Jose, under Nuno, under Antonio Conte, but those minutes have dried up, we've got to say, following the appointment of Ange Postecoglou as the head coach. He has been, let's be honest about it, you'd say down the pecking order to the likes of Basuma, Pat Matasar, and you'd say also things could become a lot tougher for him with Rodrigo Bentancur urging himself back into fitness now. We know he's keen to return, but you may argue, and we'll come on to it shortly in terms of the preview for our game against Fulham, that this might be an opportunity, of course, for Højbjerg, where Basuma is suspended. He may come into the team. He's been speaking in Denmark, saying that from his perspective, he hasn't gone to Ange and bashed the door down as to why he's not playing. He said, look, I don't have that dialogue, to be honest with you. My approach is to keep the focus on the things I can do something about. I have to be ready to help the team if called upon. So I make sure I train well and keep my nose straight in track. He says we are playing a new kind of football than we did last season. We've got a new coaching team. Things are working really well. We're in a very good position in the league. Even though it's only a short time into the season, we're making really good progress. So it's all about keeping up. I haven't played as much as I've been used to, but it's something you have to take and you have to accept and learn from, which I think, Tal, is so refreshing for somebody that has in around the first team to not sulk and quite frankly be mature and adult about it. That ultimately Spurs have been playing well, and it's up to him now to see if he can earn back his place. So I just want to get your thoughts on his current position and what you made of that interview there from Højbjerg.
I mean, look, the one word that comes from it is professional. I think no matter what people think of him, he's always come across as a very professional guy. And at the end of the day, people forget being a footballer is a job, and you do have to be professional like any of us would with our jobs. And I think he handled it very well. Like anyone, he of course wants to be starting, and to go from being, like you said, one of the first names on the team sheet to being right down that pecking order is a really tough thing to take. But he's not throwing his toys out the pram. He's not, huffed and puffed when he's had to come on for 3 minutes at the end of a game, or when he has come on, is made an impact as he should, as most subs have, really. But I mean, you can't complain, can you? I think that's all you can ask of a player. They've got to keep going, stay professional, know that it's a team sport. When he's needed and when Ange thinks he needs him, he's ready to come on. And like you said, look, with Biss out, it's the perfect opportunity for him to, take his place, prove that he's got it in him, have a few good games under him, and then, rotate whatever. But look, he's been professional, so I don't think any of us can really say anything. He's not good enough for us at the moment. He doesn't fit that spot that he wants as good as the others are. And I think we all kind of thought, we weren't sure about Sarr, but he just came in and has been phenomenal for the most part. So he's just not had a look in as part of the duo, but this is probably his biggest look in so far. But look, as long as he keeps being professional, as all the other boys do on the bench, then that's all we can ask for.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Tim, they bring you in on him. I do feel at Spurs, and look, for me, we've got the best fans, I feel, in the world, home and away. They're amazing. But I think we do have that situation where, I think it's at every club, it's not just at Tottenham, where there always is someone that's more highlighted as a bit of a scapegoat. We had it obviously with Harry Winks in the past. We've had it before with certain players. There was a period where I feel Højbjerg was getting that, despite, in my opinion, I think he gave everything for the shirt. And, I think, as Tal said there, admittedly sometimes, just his level is not good enough for what we all need and want right now. So do you think, Tim, is there still a space for him in the squad, in your opinion, or is this an area that you may feel Spurs would need to look to upgrade in January, given his lack of minutes so far? And that's, of course, despite the fact, as I said, we've got Biss and we've got Pat Matasar going off to the AFCON in January, where you may need his skill set for the games we've got coming up. Very experienced, knows the dark arts. Give me your thoughts on it, Tim, for you.
I think, obviously, he was great under Conte, wasn't he? When Conte came in, he's Conte's sort of player, isn't he? He's a warrior. I'd never expect anything different for him to just try and stay in. I'm going to try and fight for my place. I want to get back in. I back myself to sort of get back in the squad personally. I'm Rodrigo Bentancur's biggest fan, not just because of the song, but just because he's phenomenal for us. It's such an unfortunate thing with such a bad injury at that time. I sort of see it circumstantially. I'll keep in the squad because what you just said, with the guys going off to AFCON. If it wasn't for that, I personally would probably let him go and get someone else in. I just think we've just moved to another level now, and I hope it is a consistent thing, not just a short term sort of new manager bounce. I think he fit the right mold for Spurs at the right time. I just think we've moved on now, personally. But I'd never question. Yeah, when he comes on, you're not thinking, "Oh my God, here we go." I sort of think, okay, that's someone to shore up. That's someone I can rely on to shore up the game. At the moment, look at the circumstances of games we've had. We kind of need that. Like the Luton game was prime example. So yeah, and it's just to have him around the squad really. Yeah, he's a great, like you said, he's ultimate professional. To have players like that, highly experienced, would give literally anything, run through brick walls for you. I just don't think. I think there is a value to having it around the squad. But obviously, if we can improve on the quality, then 100%. He's not going to get in above the two that play at the moment, and then I can't see him getting ahead of obviously Ben Squill when he comes back. So I just think competition wise, he's going to be struggling unless it was this Econ situation. So I guess you're looking at that thinking, well, I've got a good chance of playing quite a large chunk of the season. So I got no problem with him. I've never been. You said about haters and saying things around. Just look at Emerson. Look how much Emerson's turned. He was the most hated man in the club at one point, wasn't he? So and just completely turned it around. So players can do it, and they've done it in the past.
They have indeed. They have. George, bringing you in. We've seen actually some reports today, and we're recording just for context. I feel like I have to time check this because people will very quickly tell you it's out of date. We're recording here on a Wednesday evening where we have heard reports that Tottenham's new technical director, and again, I will probably butcher this name, so forgive me, Johan Langer is a big fan, we understand, of Calvin Phillips, and he could potentially be a target for Tottenham in the upcoming window should Højbjerg look to leave Spurs in the upcoming January window. I want to get your thoughts on that, George, as well as the fact if you feel that ultimately Højbjerg is good enough as a squad player for Tottenham if he's not going to make it into that first team.
Yeah, just on Højbjerg quickly, I think the issue is, I think, like everyone said, he's professional. When he comes on, he does a good job and he would be a good squad player, yes. Unfortunately, we've seen that in the summer. There was heavy links to Atletico Madrid. It looked like he had one foot out the door already. Atletico Madrid just couldn't agree a deal with Spurs for him to go. So I think even though he's going to be that professional, sort of like how Kane was, he's going to be that professional. He's going to play when he gets told to come on, and he will do well. I think he's just still going to have in the back of his mind that he's going to want to be playing first team football all the time. I don't think he makes it into our current system as a starter compared to other players, especially when we do more recruitment down the line as well, bringing other players in. So it's just one of them ones where, okay, yes, he'll play in the Euros next year, pretty much guaranteed with Denmark. But with following tournaments, he's got to have sort of one eye on that, thinking, well, if I stay at Spurs just as a squad player and I'm not really going to play at all in the next couple of years, am I going to make it to the Danish first team? Probably not in that case. So I think at some point, whether it's January or the summer, he'll probably look to leave. January will only be if we absolutely do bring someone in like a Phillips. But yeah, I think Phillips was a great player for Leeds. I think a lot of people seem to be sort of underrating him a little bit purely because, for some reason, Man City decided to buy him, maybe because he was English and they needed to fill a quota, spend a lot of money on him and just haven't used him. But I think back in the Euros a few years ago, for me personally, he was a standout midfielder compared to him and Rice. I thought he was the better player. For Leeds, he was, I think, astronomical under Bielsa. So there's definitely a good player in there. It's just a massive question mark about the match fitness because he hasn't played for the last year or so. But again, if that's where all this data-led recruitment is leading towards, and obviously, again, we probably do need to sign more English players, it doesn't seem like a bad signing to me.
Okay, very quick on this, guys, before we go for that first break. Tal, Calvin Phillips, is that one you feel, is that an upgrade on that position for you, Tal, if we are going to let Højbjerg go? What do you feel for you, Tal? Would you be in favour of that?
I don't know, like if you're getting, it depends what version of him you're getting. Because for Leeds, like George said, he was phenomenal at times. He was such a good player, created so much for them. But for City, when he comes on, he just the glorified winks. He just passes sideways and that's about it. He doesn't do anything. It's true. So like if you're getting that version, then probably not. Because Højbjerg is that professional, he's trustworthy when he comes on, etc. With Phillips, other than the fact he's English, what's he going to offer you that we don't already have? But like we said, fitness, etc., takes its toll. So if you get back that other version, and we've seen Ange can clearly unlock players of the past, which we love. So if that's the case, then yeah, go for it. But at the moment, we'll stick with the glorified Winks.
Okay, fair. Only Talia could get Harry Winks into this show. The bloke's left the club for 6 months, but she'll find a way. Tim, closing this segment with you. I say closing it. You're opening it back up for us in a second, pre-recorded. Tim, thoughts on this situation with regards to Calvin Phillips, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg? Do you see that being a potential upgrade for Tottenham, that position, that player, in your opinion?
Again, I just agree with Tal. I just don't think you just can't tell because it's been a consistent non-playing situation. Kevin obviously never know, looked all right for England, but you just whatever you do, it's going to be a high price. It's a gamble, isn't it? It's a gamble because you generally don't know what player you're going to get, whether he's going to be fit or not. Obviously, the Leeds version, I'd take him. I'd definitely take him. He was class for Leeds, but don't know. Tottenham don't take well when we take risks, it goes badly. So I'm not quite sure my thoughts on that one. But
you guys, I must say on that, in terms of risks going badly, what I would say is I do feel with Tottenham the recruitment definitely under Paratici is definitely most certainly. There's been more hits than misses. I mean, what you could argue for
Star and Udogie have just been unbelievable, haven't they? Just ridiculous.
Yeah, but you could argue Paratici that the only way was up after his first recommendation was Nuno, and I think we could all agree that maybe he was doing that purposely because he knew from there the only way was up. And then to be fair, his second one was Romero, so I mean you can't say to go from that to
set the bar low, and then the next one will seem just as sweet.
But then we got back down to Galini, so I won't tell you what that kind of hit
Okay.
was like. But
if his probation was 3 months, he's no chance he's lasting after that.
He was going to make us proud. Come on, he was going to make us proud. Look, I digress.
Fans with a train ticket, mate. It still didn't work out, did it?
Absolutely. No, look, to be fair, I think many, I've got to say, even despite the fact of the new technical director coming in, I think there was a real, I'd say, again, I don't want to use social media as a barometer, but many people saying, we've got to keep Paratici on, And the fact that we've heard reports that he will remain on in some form of consultancy role, I think that does please a lot of Spurs fans because, look, you've got to say the players that are all performing now and playing now have been mostly Paratici buys. I think that Luton game, I think it was only all but one that were Paratici signings. And I think we can all agree that we are now reaping the benefits of that recruitment. So, look, we shall see with Pierre Højbjerg. We shall see with links to Calvin Phillips. But what we are going to do, we are going to go for our midway break of this show. There's over 1,000 of you watching us live again. Thank you so much for all your incredible support for Last Word on Spurs. Me, George and Tal, we're going to go for a quick cuppa. We'll be back in 2.
Just get the guitar, yeah.
We'll let Tim play you in for the second part of the Last Word on Spurs Song Sheet collaboration. Take it away, guys.
This one's about our captain, our leader, the nicest man in football, and he's just always in my head. He's with me, he's Sonny, part of our family. In your head, Son is flying, leading us with his pace and that smile on his face. At the lane, we're all crying. He's in my head, Sonny, he's in my head, Sonny, he's in my head, This one's about our left back, our destiny, because I want to dance with Udogie. When the night falls, my destiny calls. Oh, I want to dance with you, doggy. I want to win the league with you, doggy. Yeah, I want to dance with you, doggy. Oh, with you, doggy, who loves me. Oh, I want to dance with you, doggy. I want to win the league with you, doggy. Yeah, I want to dance with you, doggy. Oh, with you, doggy, who loves me. Oh, I want to dance with you, doggy. I want to win the league with you, doggy. Yeah, I want to dance with you, doggy. Oh, with you, doggy, who loves me. Oh, I want to dance with you, doggy. I want to win the league with you, doggy. Yeah, I want to dance with you, doggy. Oh, with you, doggy, who loves me.
James Maddison.
James Maddison plays down at White Hart Lane and he loves the darts. He's our number 10 and he's done it again, Tottenham superstar. James Maddison plays down at White Hart Lane and he loves the darts. He's our number 10 and he's done it again, Tottenham superstar.
Hello and welcome back to the second part of the Last Word on Spurs. Thank you so much for joining us. Over 1,000 plus of you watching us live here as you get renditions from Tim Winstone over at Spurs Song Sheet, giving us the vibe during this international break where Tottenham are riding high, top of the Premier League.
Just go off.
Love it. There you go. That's the magician there showing himself there, the wonderful Tim Winstone. And, I've got to say, why can't we ride high? Tottenham, top of the league. If there's ever a time to do it, why not do it now? We're joined by, also alongside Tim, the wonderful George Achillea and the brilliant Talia Coren on this Last Word on Spurs as we build up to Tottenham Hotspur's upcoming next Premier League fixture. Fulham to come Monday night under the lights at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Something special about that place on evenings, I'm sure we all agree. Going to be a great atmosphere there for sure. And I think Spurs will go in absolutely buoyant to what's been a great start to the season and one that we're going to look even more closer now at. Just one thing I must bring into context, questions flying in with regards to, quite frankly, how those songs can be listened to. Tim, I'll let you say this up very quickly. Ian asked Tim, when are these songs going to be on Spotify? I'll let Tim quickly answer that one.
So that's a contentious one. Can you hear me okay, actually? I've changed my headphones because obviously I've just been playing, so I've just put these headphones back on. I still keep trying to blag it. So we looked into Spotify. I've got some songs on Spotify that are covers, but they're straight covers. You can get away with that with a license. You can't get away with basically changing someone's entire song. You can do it at a creative license. So they're all on a SoundCloud album. So if you check out my Twitter and Spurs Song Sheet, or you just go to SoundCloud under Tim Winstone, you'll find the album there. We put an album together, all these songs. So all the way back to the Give me a reason, and he's the reason. Sorry, give me a ginger from Sweden. They'll rhyme. We'll get there eventually. I don't even know my own songs. There's about 30 songs on the album. Some of them are like, there'll be a song that closes the show, which is well known by Spurs fans. There's a couple of just normal covers on there. Most of these songs are written by fans. The whole idea is we have Spurs Song Sheets, which is a Twitter site. So if you go to @Spurs Song Sheet, you write in ideas, they'll come to us. There's three of us that will get together. Some lyrics that we sort of change, some we don't, and then I put the music to them. We put them out. I guess some work and some get utterly panned, as you expect them to be. So, we did one for Hugo to Atomic Kitten, Whole Again, which obviously Nick Southgate's song.
I'm not sure that was ever going to work.
Didn't work.
One of them ones. Definitely one of them ones.
I'm not getting invited on this show to play that song, 100%. But again, the whole idea is like the Sonny song. I mean, we just tweeted one lyric out of that, had 1 million views in a week. I'm guessing a lot of them would have been obviously from South Korea as well as here, but things tend to go viral like that. And that song's obviously it's the cover of Zombies. That's some great feedback. That one I put my end up. I wrote the verse for that one, and then obviously fans write in the chorus. This one that came over from the Robbie Williams song. So all we urge fans to do is just write in. We're trying to build a community back with Spurs. It's been so sort of broken for quite a long time. So if you've got an idea for a song, just write into me on Twitter or to @Spurs Song Sheet. And again, if plenty of people come up with the same idea, we'll sort of put it out there. That's kind of where we go with it.
I'll let you go back to Jason in your spare time there. Jason's asking when that Jurgen Klopp song's coming out. I'm sure that's delayed, right? Or might be forcing for a replay. Yeah. I'll let you cover that one with Jason. There you go, straight up. Guys, we are, of course, looking ahead now to what's to come for Tottenham in terms of this upcoming fixture against Fulham. Look, I think we can all safely say, as I start with George, it's been a week or a couple of weeks where we have been slightly looking behind the sofa to some degree in terms of who's going to come out fit after the international break. We are nearly there in terms of it being over. And I think it's fair to say Friday will be an interesting day for Tottenham in terms of and his presser and knowing where everybody's at. Because I think at the moment, let's be honest about it, we're still recording in the midst of some form of mystery. We know Spurs pair, Heung-min Son, Christian Romero will be assisted. Hopefully they'll be assisting. Will be assessed for knocks sustained during the international break when they report back to the club on Friday. Although we understand from Dan Kilpatrick from the Standard that there's no serious concern for either player. Romero was withdrawn shortly after half-time for Argentina in their World Cup qualifying win over Peru. Son, meanwhile, played a full 90 minutes for South Korea following their win over Vietnam. I think what we have to bear in mind, to start with you, George, is that two guys in Son, Romero, very much passionate for their countries. I don't think they're going to want to miss games. Like we've heard in our last show from Tim Vickery, who covers the South American continent, that, players want to play for their club. It's a massive, massive honour. It's a massive, massive prestige. And quite frankly, we've got to maybe understand that and accept that and deal with that, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's always been the case, isn't it, that especially in South America, like you said, where they fight for everything for their country. I think it's a little bit different over here because obviously we have the league in this country and the players obviously aren't necessarily travelling far for it. It might be viewed just a bit differently. I think the Sonny one is strange because that first game when he was basically, I think he was an unused sub. I think everyone was buzzing that he was getting a bit of rest, but then it came to, I think it was a friendly against Vietnam as well, playing the whole 90 and just, you could see there was discomfort at half time. He was still, even when he scored, the way, like he couldn't even celebrate. He seemed to be struggling a lot. So I couldn't be the only one scrolling through Twitter, just hoping that he was taken off, but sadly wasn't. So I'm hoping he's okay. I think we've come through relatively unscathed so far. Like you said, we've got to wait and see what the full extent is for a lot of the injuries. But I think it's good that players like Brennan Johnson's had a full rest. Hopefully he's available on Monday because, we're going to need him on the wings. Hopefully Sonny is fit and is fine after the travelling. But yeah, I think that's been definitely the main worry is those two, considering how important they are. We don't really have the backups at centre-back or even striker, considering, Richarlison isn't exactly performing the way we wanted him to.
Yeah, just interesting one, Tal. Come over to you. And I think this, again, kind of, as I've said earlier, almost accentuates the fact we just need to get to January now, battle ourselves through there and look at the areas which do need significant area of depth improvement. And I think, as George has, quite eloquently said there, those are two of the areas, Son's position and Romero's, where you do for in January. They're going to be quite key if Tottenham can maintain its form. They're going to have to go in the market and maybe address both areas. But can you understand it, Tal, in terms of those players wanting to play for their countries and saying that as Spurs fans? I think we have to accept. And I've got to say, what's great is that, I think Son has always, he always put South Korea first. But at the same time, there's that respect that he knows he's Tottenham's main man now being the captain. And I've got to say, isn't it nice, Tal, seeing Romero coming out on international duty saying that he understands coming off a half-time was right, needs to get back for Tottenham. It's a really important game against Fulham. Just what's happened to that guy in the last 12 months? It really has been that masterstroke, hasn't it, Tal, in terms of that vice-captaincy?
100%. I was just going to say, we're talking about our captain and one of our vices here. So they are two huge players in our squad. But we've all seen that change in Romero. It's crazy, the fact he didn't get a yellow for a good chunk of these first few games was like huge. You can see that he's really grown up and is taking this responsibility seriously. But look, I think you've got to understand it. Players want to play for their country. It means a lot to them, especially when they're some of the stars like Sonny is. Sonny's such a nice guy. He'd never want to miss a game for a club or country. And I think we've all seen he's been playing through an injury for far too long for both teams, really. And that's sad to see. But, we all want him to play. We want everyone to play. But Romero and Sonny are two very key players for us. Sonny, I guess, especially because where Rishi is lacking, we really need Sonny up front. And the partnership that Van der Ven and Romero are building, it is just special, isn't it? We're all thinking of the Jan Toby days. So we wouldn't want to see anyone be injured out of those two because, they're building something special and we want to keep going, we've got good stats going. We want to build momentum. We've got to keep them both fit. But look, you can't slate them for wanting to play for their countries. I don't think you can. It's not the right thing to do. And we all eye roll when players are injured or whatever. We're all like, no, they're not. And how they're just miraculously, you know what I mean? Miraculously fit when they get back to club. So it's like, works both ways. So you got to let them do it. But fingers and toes crossed.
Yeah, absolutely. I do agree on that. It's a really tricky one, isn't it, Tim, coming around to you? It's always that often age debate in terms of country versus club. What is the most important? I think what we can, I want to say safely say now that we've seen from the 8 games that every player that's taken to that pitch for Tottenham are giving their everything, are giving their all, and are actually really enjoying playing for the football club. And I think, look, when you're getting someone like Romero saying, I had to come off because we've got a really important game next against Fulham, I think that tells you just how that dynamic in the dressing room now feels, that everyone is so together and that everyone is really enjoying their club football and really taking it seriously. Tim, do you agree on that point?
Yeah, it's a 360, isn't it? If you again, I know you're sort of picking out Romero because we all sort of know his history with playing for Argentina and just preferring sort of country over club, and he did get slated for that. It just shows, like you said, that the genius move was the captaincy team they put together, because I think that's it is sort of out with the old and in with the new. Obviously, we've still got Sonny there. We've still got some of our sort of old guard in the sort of backup, but they're getting nowhere near the first team. And it's just a whole new vibe. I mean, the whole the song I just sung at the start, Islands in the Stream. So apparently, all the players are singing it after the game at Luton, which is a kind of like a togetherness kind of song. It sounds a bit cheesy, but it's nice to see, because you heard all the rumours coming out under Conte, and then obviously when Conte left, it was just got worse and worse. They're trying to keep it internal in the club. Everyone knows what's going on because it's going terribly, and people start sort of buying each other. It just couldn't be any further. Like you saw that on the pitch against Luton, backs to the wall. I know it's only Luton, you could argue, but 10 men, Kenilworth Road. I wouldn't want to be playing that game. So it's just the whole togetherness, the whole fight for each other to the death, and you see it at the end of the game. And again, like I'm sure these guys have been to more away games than I've been to, but you just what they're doing with before the game, the huddle before the game, and then get Big Ange getting. It's just building that whole family feel, which again, I'll just go back to. It's kind of what we're trying to do with the songs as well. It's just it's like a siege mentality rather than having sort of fractures in your club and then people pick weaknesses in it. If you're going together, it's all's better than one, isn't it? So it's just great to see. Again, I think you said it at the start of the show. The challenge is going to be when we do lose that first game. Maybe we won't lose, but that will be the challenge. It's just how they react. How they react to that, because that's going to be a difficult thing to do, especially as made such a good start. But again, but the great thing is I want to see it happen. Whereas last year I was had enough, so I'm in that sort of zone again now. It's great. It's great to see.
Absolutely. Just on the injury front, just to bring us up to date as we understand here at the moment, again, just to then do a time check Wednesday evening here. So again, just putting that out there. Pat Matassar, who was pictured with an ice pack on his foot after featuring for Senegal, we understand has resumed training at Spurs on Wednesday at Hotspur Way. So a positive aspect for there, given the fact, as we've mentioned already, Basuma, of course, is suspended for that upcoming game, of course, after that sending off against Luton. Really weird one with Basuma, because he's in that situation where he'll return against Crystal Palace, but if he does receive a booking, he'll then miss Chelsea. So you could argue Spurs have got a debate on their hands whether the guy who's got, I think, 6 yellow cards or 6 bookings in his last 8 games, whether you do rest him for, well, do you not play him against Palace, so you've got him for Chelsea? Very quickly, let's do a quick round on the table on that, yes or no. George, what do you do if you're Ange Postecoglou, and how pivotal Basuma is? I know I'm fast forwarding to a couple of weeks' time now with regards to Chelsea. What do you do with Basuma, in your opinion, when he is back for Palace? Are you planning or are you not?
Look, I want him for that Chelsea game, but so far this season, Palace are looking just as good as Chelsea, if not better than Chelsea right now. So
that's a good point.
It's tough as it is.
Point.
I think we just need our best players in every game and just let it happen. Or if Højbjerg does well against Fulham, let him play against Palace.
Okay, exactly. Interesting. Tal, let's get your thoughts on that quickly. What would you do with this Basuma debate? Would you play him against Palace when he's back, or would you potentially rest him so you've got him for Chelsea?
No, I'd play him because he was reckless and stupid. You don't get rewarded for stupid behaviour. Why would you reward him and save him for a game that he probably wants to play in for being an idiot? No, play him.
Because is he arguably out too good to risk at the moment? Bearing in mind, I know what you're saying. I completely get where you're coming from, but I think we all probably agree. I'm sure you do as well. He's probably been one of the best midfielders definitely this season. When you look at the money's been paid for Caicedo and Rice, and this guy. I mean, I've got to be honest with you, you've got to wonder what has Conte been thinking, quite frankly, him and Saad to not be featuring last season. That's the reason why I asked the question. Would you take the risk and you play him against Palace?
I play him, yeah. You play him, 1 for that, and 2 because, like you said, Palace is a hard game. Every game's a hard game. 3 points matters no matter who's your opposition. Play him and get the 3.
Yeah, fair. Tim, yes or no? What would you do?
I think he's suspended. I play him because you want him fit for Chelsea, don't you? You can't. Just on that point alone. And he has been so. I mean, that's another player. It's just a complete 360 switch, isn't it? From we had last year. So yeah, I'll play him. But equally, what George just said. Hopefully Højbjerg has a great game, and then he gives him a problem. That's the sort of the main. Well,
absolutely. Well, I've got to say, for those that are watching us live, it's unanimously everyone saying play him, Jason here, play him at Palace. Both games are 3 points. Don't second guess the fixtures. Chris says it, always play your best 11. So look, I think unanimous, many were saying play him. So we shall see on that situation. Just to bring up the latest where we are with Brennan Johnson. As we understand it, again, this is coming out from the Standard. They expect Johnson to feature against Fulham. Depending on how you read that, will he start? Again, not sure. I mean, what I will say is that he was thrown in to a North London derby against Arsenal. So it makes you think that if he is fit, I think possibly we might put him in the team. I really do. So one to keep an eye on, of course, we're there. At the moment, like I say, I think Rodrigo Bentancur, you're looking still at November for an early return. I know he's desperate to get back on the pitch. Almost, so eager to get back on, but one you want to keep an eye on. We could, of course, see Brian Hill, Giovanni Lo Celso eyeing their first minutes in the league for the upcoming game against Fulham. I mean, like I say, it's quite interesting. You look at the way fixtures are falling. Spurs are, they've got, I think it's Friday, Friday, in the most weirdest way, the way fixtures are falling. So, for those that want a weekend off, you've got 3 there to contest with. So, I mean, George, to be fair, the way you're travelling, you might enjoy the weekends, right? It's a newfound territory at the moment.
Oh, I can actually do things on weekends.
I know. Interesting. No, it really, really is. So, look, again, we'll keep an eye on the injury situation, but I think, as I've said, more will become clear on, of course, Friday when Ange does hold that press conference on exactly where we do stand. What we are going to do, we are going to go for another very quick break on the show. So, that break, you're going to hear from a couple of contributors very kindly from the Fulham Focus who give us a Fulham perspective on what is to come for them on Monday night. Fair to say they've made a fairly decent start to the season, Fulham, and that's where we're going to turn our attention to next. Fulham have exceeded certain expectations. They have returned to the top flight. Of course, last season they secured a top half finish. It was their highest place since 2011, 2012. And you'd say at the moment for Fulham, I don't want to put the knockers on it, but they're yet to beat a side inside the top 3-4. I can hear Anthony Costa going absolutely ballistic at me saying, shut up, Rick. Shut up, Rick. Look, and I've got to say, Fulham, to be fair, they've blown hot and cold this season so far. They've had a win, a draw, and a defeat in their first 3 games against Everton, Brentford, and Arsenal. That set the tone, really, for their campaign. Since then, they lost 5-2 at Manchester City. They beat Luton by 1-0, and they played out a goalless draw with Palace. Chelsea, they left Craven Cottage with a 2-0 win, but Fulham paused for the 2-week break with a 3-1 victory against Sheffield United. And for them now, Fulham, they're hoping for their first away win of the campaign against Tottenham. So that's where things do stand. We'll kick off with you, George, that they sit 12th in the league at the moment. 3 wins, as many defeats, and the 2 draws so far for them. What kind of Fulham are you expecting on Monday night?
It's a weird one. You know what? To be honest with you, without Mitrovic, I'm not as bothered. I think that's always been like a tough battle, especially since most of the time recently it's been Sanchez versus Mitrovic. So
I've just got this image in my head. Cue the Carlos Vinicius return.
Oh no, don't!
Oh yeah,
right.
Not again. Not this.
And look, and as much as I hate to say it, now I'm sort of out, folks. Wait, yeah, I hate to say it because he's obviously an ex-Gooner, but I think Leno has been a very decent keeper for Fulham, so it's definitely a player to watch out for. But all in all, it's not a team that I think we should be struggling against, especially at home. So I think, provided, like we just said about all the injuries, provided that it's all okay and we've got some playing, maybe Brennan Johnson's back, I think we shouldn't really have any issues. Definitely not at home anyway.
Okay, Talia's come over to you. Look, Fulham, they've already defeated, of course, Tottenham on penalties this season in the Carabao Cup. People that must be taking shots on me sad about the Carabao Cup, bearing in mind how much I mentioned it on this show. It was a winnable trophy. I can't help it. I'm so sorry, guys. I have to say that it was a winnable trophy for Tottenham. So I'm disappointed about that still. I am still trying to get over it. Look, you guys know me by now. I'm still not over Forest in the Cup last season, so forgive me that I'm still not over going out to penalties in the Carabao Cup. Don't honestly tell. I do not take cup defeats well. What do you make Fulham coming up? What do you make of them as a team? Fearful? We're at home, played ever so well, obviously unbeaten at home, scoring to some degree some really important goals in last minute. We don't want this to go, of course, down to the 93rd, 94th minute. Do you think you're confident we'll get this job done inside 90?
I mean, yeah, I hope so. There's no reason to say that we won't. I think it's just we've got to keep grounded. I think, the games that we've had, Sheffield United, we walked in being like, oh yeah, huge game for goal difference. Let's just score for fun. Didn't happen. So I think you can easily get carried away, especially with the momentum that we've got. You don't want to get ahead of yourselves. Every game is a hard game. This is the Premier League. Anyone can beat anyone. We've seen it time and time again. So, there's an expectation and we want to win and we should be winning. We're at home. The atmosphere has been incredible. The style of play has been incredible that, we have to keep it up and we should be winning. But I'm still the ever cautious Tottenham fan in me is like, we can't be like, yeah, easy. No game's easy. Still the Premier League. But yes, we're at home. We're going to win. And look, they sometimes show up. They sometimes don't. I hope they don't show up. But, whatever it is, we'll take it. We're going to win.
Tim, come over to you. Look, they are a side, you say, they really focus on the solidity of their team. They do, to some degree, have a concerning defensive record. They've got the 6th worst defence for goals conceded in the league. And look, I think, again, it has the makings of becoming a really open game for Tottenham. They've scored 18 goals in their first 8 matches, every game so far this season. They currently have on the injury bench Tosin Adarabioyo, a man that many will remember, of course, Spurs being in the summer. Stephen Bender, Adama Traore. I can hear Jason in the comments being happy or that, or potentially. Well, if Jason is watching right now, Adama Traore, Jason will tell me there's no threat at all if he is fit and plays, but I can guarantee he might have a word in this game. But right back, Kenny Tete could be eyeing a return from his hamstring injury against Spurs. Tim, Fulham for you, what kind of threat are they going to bring?
I don't know. I've got this horrible feeling. Again, I don't know. It's not going to be the same sort of game as a Sheffield United, but I just echo what the guys are saying. The atmosphere, and just from our point of view with the songs and stuff, it's been absolutely electric all season. Under lights on a Monday. We're not played for 2 weeks. Everyone's desperate to get back there. So just urging the fans to drive. Even if it is getting a frustrating, we're going 1-0 down or it's a 0-0, just keep getting behind the lads 1 to 90 minutes because that's the difference that it's been getting us over the line. I think we go into it with confidence. I agree with George. I think we've got kind of likely with the international break and injuries. Hopefully, obviously the guys return, Romero and Son. I can see like a 2-0 win. If I'm honest, I just think we're just too good at home under lights. I know that's kind of cursing it a little bit. I think we've won 13 out of 15 against Fulham the last 15 fixtures. I mean, that just screams of a 1-0 Fulham, doesn't it? 'Cause it's got to be broken at some point. But
I can't believe, Tim. You could see the hurt of you being a Spurs fan, the pain that you've suffered. I see the way you talk, and you refuse to allow yourself to enjoy these moments of Tottenham right now.
I just said what Tal said. So what Tal said is exactly. So my opinion in games, right? So we go 1-0 down against Sheffield United, we get back to 1-0, and even then you think, we're not going to get a winner. You're ingrained to just think the worst is going to happen, and then the best happens a couple of times. You're like, and then Liverpool happens. You just. Do I start believing? And then you're just waiting to get knocked down to earth. But that's where it comes from. And it's happened so many times. You're always hoping for a better day as a Spurs fan, and just pray that.
What? In that moment now, like in the ground, I thought we're going to score again. Like before, if you ask me now, I'll be like, no way, like no chance. But like when you're in it, you're immersed, and I'm like, yes, come on, we're scoring again. And then when it happens, I think that's why it's even more like nuts, and people just falling everywhere because you're just like, whoa.
I'm guessing you guys went to the Liverpool game, so I bet that was just the most frustrating thing to watch in the second half. But to get over the elation of getting over the line, it's worth more than just a win, like 3-1 by the 60th minute, isn't it? It's worth so much more.
I said that about that Sheffield United win, that many will remember that win for a long time, not because of the opponent, because of the timing and
it's the manner in which we won it. It's like everyone down the stairs, like where I sit, like I'm quite near the exit in the South Stand. It's like, and everyone's walking down the steps, and it's just congested of people. It's like the way it happens, it's just a sea of bodies of chaos, and it's everyone's together. It's just nuts.
It's all the games we live for as fans. Like you want to be at those moments. If it was just a standard 3-1 win, you probably wouldn't even be bothered. It's just like, simple 3 points.
Exactly what I was saying. Exactly. So you look at it. The games could have, like I said from the outset, the games could have gone on a knife edge. We might have been some points less off, but yeah, we've got those points on the board, and we've won in those circumstances. It's like a double win at the moment. But obviously, I hope we get a 5-0 win and it's nice and comfortable. But you just never know. I think my gut tells me we're going to get over the line. Away would be a different kettle of fish away at Craven Cottage, but at home, I think we've got enough to do the job.
I'm going to go with predictions, guys. I think there's one more question I want to ask you, and it's a question that you guys might not want to answer for the fear of it being clipped at some point on here. So I'll give you a warning that you can take your moment to think about that whilst I ask predictions. Tim, let's start with you. Prediction for Fulham at home. What are you going to go for, Tim?
I'll go 2-0 because I think I've got stat from it. 74% of games, I think, in the last 28 or something, we scored more than 1.5 goals. So just stats alone, I'll go 2-0. Going
stats alone. Okay, 2-0. George, what are you going to go for?
2-0 is a very good shout, but I'm going to go brave. I'm going to go out there.
Go on, George.
It's going to be a 4-0 Spurs win.
4-0 Spurs win.
We're due a game like that at home, so I think it's going to happen.
Who scores the goals, George? Who scores the goals?
Van der Ven and Brennan Johnson to get his first goal, and then 2 from Sonny.
I like it. Confidence.
Perfect,
okay, brilliant. Tal, you're going to follow suit? What are you going to go for?
Yes, but not quite as optimistic. I think 2-1.
Oh, come on, you got
2-1 or 3-1.
Okay. Tal, bringing us back down to earth.
You'll concede, I do, but we're going to win, and it's fine.
Okay, you're gonna have my next question now, guys. And look, based on this start and based on the fact we do beat Fulham, when will you allow yourselves to dream that we could be in for a potentially bigger prize? And I know everyone hates this question, but I have to ask that question because it depends. I mean, everyone's got different mindsets as to when you really do start looking at the table in terms of being more than just top 4. The reason why I say that is, all Spurs have to do, quite frankly, is match from now last season's finish, and they get Champions League, which, when you look at what happened and the Wolves falling off as they did in February onwards, that shouldn't be a problem because we're Tottenham. But, I just wonder at what point do we allow ourselves to dream a little bit more? I mean, I'll come to you, Tim, on that. When will you allow yourself to dream a bit more that ultimately this isn't going to be more than just potentially a top 4 finish if possible?
This is how bored I when we make some proper signings in January. That's intent for me. If we're in this position or close to it, because unless you're Arsenal, like from last season, you don't go through seasons without a few ridiculous injuries hitting you. I mean, you could argue we've had it with Bentancur. We've been without him all season. He was our most influential player for a couple of years. Yep. So you got him coming back. That's like a new signing. So again, I'm talking myself up now, mates. I think if we consistently put this together against, when we play City and when we play, we want to play Chelsea. Don't matter where Chelsea is in the league, does it? Come on, it doesn't really matter. It's going to be that sort of game.
It's a London derby, right?
Yeah. If we can keep getting these results again, particularly think how bad Tottenham are away. We've been so good away. And we've got so many more home games to come. I mean, Sonic, we're in the league. We're top two. See
what's done to him. I love it, George.
You got it. You got me.
George, when are you going to start to believe? I mean, look, your channel is full of your absolutely hysteric reactions to Spurs, either doing the madness or doing the madness the other way. When will you start allowing yourself to dream, George, more can be achieved this season?
Look, I'm hoping for more of those for the end of the season, but look, unfortunately, Man City are just Man City. I think every single season, and to be fair, the last couple of seasons, they've started off poorly, and they have the experience and they have the know-how just to hound down whatever team is sitting up at the top of the table. So we cannot take that for granted at all, especially this early in the season. And they've actually started the season off pretty well, considering the amount of wins that they've got. I know they lost the last couple, but before that, they were flying. So look, it's going to be tough regardless. I think the squad's not quite there yet. It's completely circumstantial. We're going to have to wait and see where we are come the end of the season. No one thought Arsenal were going to be up there last year. They managed to do it. Yeah. But I think, like Tim said, it takes a lot of luck in terms of injuries, maybe some signings. We're going to have to wait and see what 2024 brings us, unfortunately.
It's exciting, though. It's exciting, isn't it? It's exciting.
Even to be having these conversations, right, tells you just what this club is doing to us right now. We're even having these conversations.
When you've been so low, it's just the way up.
See, the thing is, like, Champions League seemed to be a dream before the season, but now it almost feels like that should be the minimum, which is strange, man.
Which is even scary in itself, right? It's scary in itself to even think that should be the minimum, right? That's when it starts becoming a bit weird. Tal, let me close it with you on this point. Look, the reality is we saw with them down the road last season that they got off to such a good start in terms of the first 23, 24 games that ultimately, this is how mad it was, as George says there. people were asking if Arsenal were in a title race when they were 9 points clear or 7 points clear of Man City because of the fact, as George said, Man City are a monster. At what point, Tal, bearing in mind you do very much keep your feet on the ground, when will you allow yourself to dream this could be a very, very special season potentially?
I mean,
is there a moment? Is there a time in the season?
When we're walking up the steps to get the trophy.
Yeah, exactly. No, for me, it's just that before this, we had all the pundits saying, "Oh, we'll be lucky if we finish in the top half." So for within a few weeks, we're turning around saying, "Oh, could we? Could we?" That's like mad. And for me, it's like, look, of course, we've started off incredibly well, but we need to be consistent. We need to, keep this togetherness, make some signings in January, keep away from injuries. Look, not being in Europe and other competitions that we won't talk about before Ricky cries, it gives us like a real chance to just concentrate on these games. But we know how it gets at Christmas, the congestion. We're already doing Monday to Friday now. That's getting smaller. Same thing. So I'm just like keeping it rational, down to earth. But look, Champions League is the goal. If we can go beyond that, then I think every single one of us will be thrilled. But I will not start to dream until it's April and it's done. Basically, that's not me. I can't do that. I'm too much of a Tottenham fan to
Absolutely.
Too broken.
We wouldn't change you for the world. We wouldn't. Guys, very quickly, where can everybody find you wonderful people on the socials? Let's go to you, Tal. Where can people find your hard-hitting opinions on Tottenham?
X. Do we have to call it now? X?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what we call it nowadays. I think it is that, yeah.
Find me on X at Talia Coren _. And as I always say, that's it, because I don't do this. So find me there and that's
I must just say as well, I mean, many are asking where Tal's been this season. Obviously, I've got to say timings and the fact we're only doing one show a week in terms of our post-match has been really painful. Obviously, I don't want to keep reminding you guys the fact we haven't got much European football when we've been knocked out the Carabao Cup, which is a reason why we've not had enough Premier League games and the timing has not been great. But we're looking forward to having Tal back on more regularly if we can do after games. I know many people love having her on. So, Tal, we're looking forward to having you back with us very soon. Thank you so much as always.
Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure as always. Many more, let's hope.
Fingers crossed. Tal, always amazing. Thank you so much. George, love to see you back on, mate. It's been a good time to get you back on the last time, what we discussed at the start. I won't go back into that again, but you'll be, of course, with us throughout the season. Where can everybody hit you up? See your reaction to hopefully plenty more late Spurs winners, fingers crossed.
Yes, it's just George Achillea across every platform. Twitter, X, Instagram, YouTube. The videos are ramping up now. The people seem to be loving them, so they're back, coming thick and fast. So yeah, I appreciate if anyone can go check that out, especially with the games coming up next week. And it's always a pleasure being on here, man. So I'm happy to be here and happy to be talking good stuff about Spurs.
Oh, mate, our pleasure. Always love having you on. Tim, we're going to close it with you in a second formally. But before you do go, for those that want to get involved with Spurs Song Sheets with you personally, and in terms of course, I think, again, at the moment, there's such a good feel-good factor about the club. I'm sure you will say to Spurs fans, get in touch with you. Any songs they want to hear, any songs they want to, feel they've got the lyrics for, hit you up.
I mean, like I said, we are actually working close with the club. So not me personally, but the guy that runs the site again. So the drum, the trumpet that's in the ground, that's all come from Spurs Song Sheet. So we've had conversations. That, thankfully, the club have been really engaging with us, which is great, because there was a time when they weren't really listening. So they've made loads of changes internally. The pre-match music, the post-match music. Music in the bar, that sort of thing. So that's been really encouraging. Again, we encourage fans to get in touch with ideas for songs, even if they're absolutely ridiculous, because some of them I've come up with are ridiculous. Then get them over. And sometimes you never know. All I'd say is the simpler the better and the easier, because for the average fan that's had 10 pints on the terraces, to try and remember a whole verse is quite a difficult thing. So it's just keep it as simple as you can. And bang it over. Again, we'll have a go, and don't be surprised if you see it on the Spurs Sheets Twitter site. You can find me at Tim_Winstone, both on Twitter and YouTube. I am on Spotify, a bit of a blatant plug for myself. If you don't like Oasis, it's probably not worth going there, if I'm honest. But Spotify and iTunes, you just got some.
That's a way to live around. That is. If you don't want to go, don't want to like Oasis, don't come and find me.
If you're not a fan, but there's some other stuff on there, and again, I just sort of do gigs outside as well as the Tottenham stuff. So by me, just get in touch with me, whether it's to do with music or some songs. Again, either a direct message on Twitter or on YouTube or whatever platform. Just you'll be able to find us quite easily.
Top man, Tim, thank you so much. George, thank you. Tal, thank you so much. All the wonderful people will be back with us very, very soon. singing us out. We've got the wonderful Tim Winstone over at Spurs Song Sheets. We are back with you, of course, after Fulham, where hopefully Spurs are still top of the Premier League or returning top and still riding the crest of a wave. From all of us here, guys, please keep safe, keep well, and as always, come on, you Spurs.
It's about a winger and he's
Still
from
did
Sweden.
There's not a soul out there, no one to hear my prayers. Give me a ginger from Sweden. He came from Juventus and he plays on the wing. Give me a ginger from Sweden. Number 21, his name is Kulusevski. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Give me a ginger from Sweden. He came from Juventus and he plays on the wing. Give me a ginger from Sweden. Number 21, his name is Kulusevski. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Thank you. This one's called I Can't Smile Without You.
Without you.